Hello, my friends. It's me again, and it's time for another story. A fantastic tale from the Neckbeard Stories subreddit. This is from Reddit user A Squeezy Doot. I like your name. This is a very uncomfortable first date. Oh boy. Here we go. For context, this happened a few years back when I was 18, almost done with high school. And this dude, he's 21. I just started going to this young adult church thing where we hung out and met in people's houses. Before we did our Bible stuff, we always played like Mario Kart or Smash Bros. Or something. Well, there was this one dude who caught my attention. Let's call him Stubble. He had thick stubble on his face and neck. He was on the smaller side and had a bit of a belly, but had strong arms and shoulders. I kid you not, he always wore a black fedora. Back then I was unaware of the horrors fedoras represent. For some reason, I found this guy mildly attractive. Maybe it was because he made me laugh a couple times. Maybe it's because he played Smash Bros. With such enthusiasm. Maybe it's because whenever he played Just Dance, he seemed like actually talented dancer. Or maybe I was just horny. Whatever the reason, we became friends that night, and the next day I added him on Facebook and messaged him. I don't know what we talked about, but it led to him asking me if I wanted to go roller skating with him on the weekend. I said sure. The word date was never used, but that's basically what it was. Here's where the mess began. My mom dropped me off at the rink. I have severe anxiety, and essentially it has kept me from ever getting my driver's license. I waited in the front, shaking with nerves, as this was my first ever date, and I barely knew this guy. I waited and waited, feeling the panic rising. Where the heck was he? It's been at least 15 minutes. I wanted to cry. Keep in mind that I didn't even have his number, and I didn't have Facebook Messenger on my ancient phone. I finally decided that I might as well just skate by myself, since I'm here anyway, until my mom came to pick me up. I paid, got my skates, then looked closely at the roller rink and saw a shorter than average dude wearing a fedora and skating by himself. It was Stubble. Relief flooded through me. At least I hadn't been stood up. I ran over to him and excitedly called his name. He almost fell out of surprise. He said something about me being late, and I tried to explain that I was confused about what part of the building we were meeting at, but I don't remember if that explanation went over well or not. I remember wearing a thick, lacy tank top and a leather jacket. I didn't want to wear the jacket while we were skating, so he offered to get me a locker for my stuff. I said sure and took off my jacket. Now, I could be remembering this wrong, anxiety and all, but I felt like his eyes were boring into my body as I shed this layer. I could barely skate, but he was pretty good, so he helped me learn the footwork. But I wasn't very good, so I had to hold on to his hand the whole time. We got tired and rested for a bit. Now I was practically shaking with nervousness the whole time, so I was not prepared to come up with conversation topics. The best he was able to come up with is, well, what's your favorite color? Which still makes me laugh to think about it. But then I cringe when I remember that I wasn't any better. Eventually we went to the food court to sit. He offered to get me something, but my stomach was too much in knots to eat. So I thanked him, but declined. I don't like other people spending money on me anyway. It always racks me with guilt. Now the part of the story I hate telling. He asked me what I did for work, and I mentioned something about high school and how I wasn't working right now. He gawked at me in shock and horror and asked, "You're a teen though, right?" I hurriedly answered that yes, I was. As awkward as things had been before, now they reached another level, and I had never experienced this. He was now cold and quiet and didn't smile again. After a long dead silence, where my heart practically burst out of my chest, I managed to get some words out again, trying to recover a thread of hope. "So, do you think we could still hang out?" He mumbled something about only in groups. When he finished eating his snack, he decided to play some of the arcade games. At this point, we had both given up on having a good time. He got up from the table, waited for me to follow him out to the food area, but I couldn't really move in my skates without help, so I just kind of stood there awkwardly for a moment until he reluctantly offered me his hand to help, and I took it uncomfortably. We played some games for a while, which might have been fun if he hadn't been so cold and distant the whole time. Finally, the time came when my mom came to rescue me. I left with a mixed feeling of relief and shame for how badly this went, and proceeded to stress eat a bunch of junk food in my bed when I got home. Obviously, I don't know what he was thinking during all of this, but it's not difficult to assume that he was horrified by our 3-year age difference, and saw me being late as a red flag instead of a miscommunication, and saw the fact that I couldn't drive as some sign of immaturity. I've seen Stubble a few times since then, and it's always been awkward. We played a trivia game at our church thing, and when he got an answer right, he made a really big deal about how he knew it and no one else did. The leader of the game tried to laugh it off and say that it was kind of a tough question, but Stubble replied with, "I don't see how." It's becoming more glaringly obvious that I really dodged a poisonous lead bullet. In summary, this was a horrible experience overall, and I wish I could tell my younger self that I didn't need to carry that feeling of shame around with me for being a couple years younger than a weird guy I was barely attracted to for a day. Whew, boy. Oh, man. Yeah, that... that sounds like a fun one. I'm not gonna lie, the idea of just a roller rink immediately brings back memories of when I was super young. I used to go to one that was nearby where I used to live, but, you know, with friends and whatever functions, because I would have been, like, maybe 12. But, yes, I remember the arcades, I remember the roller skating, I remember the whole thing, and I remember it was like a whole thing. You always had to go, like, for a party, or if you were to go there, you had to, like, you know, you might be going with somebody, and it was like a huge deal, and I never really got it, but yeah. I'm trying to imagine this guy skating around the roller rink wearing a fedora, and it's kind of doing my head in a little, so I'm just like, I want to see this. I want to see roller skating neckbeards. Actually, I have decided, now that I said that, one of my next major ventures, I don't know how to do this because I don't know anything about this, but I've decided I want to create a roller derby team completely comprised, like an all-women's roller derby team, completely comprised of women who wear variations of, like, just weird neckbeard costumes, and we're gonna call our team the Miladies. Tell me that's not a great idea. You know it is. You fucking know it is. Oh my gosh. I kind of want to do this. I want this to happen. I don't know how to make a roller derby team, but I would absolutely love that. That would make me so happy. But yeah, that sounds like a real fucking awkward hell of a date. I've seen those. I haven't really... You know, I've been out of the whole dating game for quite a bit. But, yeah, I've seen those where it's just like, these two people have pretty much nothing in common. And it's the worst. Like, it's 1,000 times worse when you're in it, but it's pretty bad when you're witnessing this from afar, because you're just like, I don't know how to throw a lifeline to this person so they can get out of this situation, but I know that they desperately need one. So, yeah. Wow, dude. Sorry to hear about your terrible date, but on the other hand, glad that you learned this guy is like a super neckbeard and are able to get out of that situation. And the fact that this was all at a church group just goes to prove that one of the many stereotypes about neckbeards all being like hyper-intelligent atheists, doesn't always apply. Anybody can be a neckbeard. Mainly because, as we have learned, the virus is mutating, and it's infecting everything now. So, stay in your bunkers, kid. Lock the door, and prepare for the worst. And always listen to this show. Mainly because I asked you nicely, and you guys are really cool. Anyway, I love you all so very much. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. I have a Ko-Fi, which you can donate to. It's like Patreon, but cooler. And I have a merch store, which is like Ko-Fi, but, I mean, you get a t-shirt, so by default, I think cooler. But not just a t-shirt. I'm selling all kinds of weird stuff in the merch store. You should probably check it out. And if you'd like to send me a story personally that you want me to read, you can send it to my subreddit, r/Moonhorse Stories. I'll check it. I check it every day. Every Saturday night there is a live stream if you'd like to come hang out with us, and do all this kind of stuff, but live. And, yeah, there's not another thing. I said that as if I was going somewhere with it, but no, that's kind of the end. Okay. Well, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.